awesome. Okay, we would love to be educated about Korean skincare. And I have heard that you are the master at Korean
Oh my
skincare.
gosh.
So let's hear all about it. What differentiates it and makes it so good?
I think the main thing is that Korea in general, they are so far ahead and in terms of like skincare technology in general. I was actually thinking about this earlier when I was driving to the office about when I lived in Korea, which was like 10 years ago. Like I was paying for things using my phone long before that was like even a thing here. And so just not just skincare, but in general, like technology, they're just like so far ahead of what we're doing here. But I think, Korea puts a lot of emphasis on self care in general. And because they have started to kind of gain the attention of other global markets, they want to stay at the top, at the forefront of the industry. And so the government actually allocates a lot of money to different manufacturers to help them with research and development and also to find buyers and assist in exporting. They give a lot of money in terms of like stipends to these companies. And then they also really put a lot of effort into finding importers as well. And so it's almost like this machine where like they caught the eye of everyone else, and then they just want to like stay at the forefront. So like they're just always innovating. A great example is like the US. We haven't had a new sunscreen filter since like 1990 something. I forget what the exact year is. And they have so many different filters that blend seamlessly into the skin. They don't leave a white cast. They don't burn the eye. You don't even feel like you're wearing sunscreen. So for
Sign me
me,
up.
what's so
Wait,
exciting and what I tell my clients is like, you're getting a facial from the future because we're using products that aren't yet mainstream here in the United States.
okay, I need that.
I
I
love
need that.
that.
I'm sold.
A facial from the future.
Right. Well, in Korea, I don't know if you, I know you know this, but I had a facelift a year ago, right? And
Mhm.
I'm 55. I firmly believe in like taking care of your skin, your body, and it was my first, but it was also a big procedure. But I want you to know that before that, I was looking at Korea as a huge place that people go
Oh,
to have
really?
surgery. Yes, they are cutting edge. I was too chicken to do it, but I will tell you, I was so excited to get to speak with you today because I believe so strongly in the power of what we're putting on our face, and there's so many things that we can do to look our best, look and feel our best. So I'm excited to talk to you about what you're doing because I really think that, like you said, you're on the forefront. You're way ahead of everyone else, and I want to know what your thoughts on this. So we were talking about. I was very open. I decided to share what I did because with my following or whatever, I thought, I don't want to. I want to be authentic. I want to share like what I did. But I found in that a lot of people are selling hope in a bottle. They're like, here's this, and this is going to make you look like. And I'm like, oh, it's not. But I will say, I found and heard that the the skincare and the products that you're doing are so much better than the other ones on the market. Do you believe that?
I do. I feel like I try to practice authenticity. So like even the products that I distribute, I love them. There's products within lines that I don't carry because I can't sell something that I'm not like genuinely like I don't feel good about. And I do get questions from estheticians like, why don't you carry this? Like it's part of the line. And I'm just like, it's not me. I've tried it. It wasn't great. Or if I know they're going to reformulate it, I'll say, just wait, they're reformulating. I've given my
Oh,
feedback.
sweet.
But I will say, just like any other country, there are good and there are bad brands. And so there is, crappy Korean skincare. You just have to be mindful. But I
Okay.
would say in general, it's better for a couple different reasons. I feel like I'm 40, and I just remember growing up, it was like Stridex pads. Stridex pads, I had acne, like trying to strip the barrier. And we
Mhm.
do a lot of exfoliation over here. And in Korea, they really focus on hydration, protecting the skin barrier. That's like the number one thing, is protecting and respecting the skin barrier. And then where we use a lot of retinol, they actually use peptides, and they use growth factors, and they
Okay.
use those types of
That's yeah.
ingredients within their skincare. So it's a little bit different. You are starting to see some retinol coming through in Korean products, but it's mostly for the Western market. It's not really something that they use a whole lot there.
Okay. Interesting. I wonder I wonder what makes that difference. Like what is it about us here in the West that we're like strip of skin?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of I'll just be honest with you, I think there's a lot of confusion because there's so much on the market and you're like, what should I use? I get asked that all the time. They'll say, Teresa, what do you use it? What's your sunscreen? What's your secrets? What's.
Mhm.
And so for me, I have a question for you because I have looked before and I was like, where do I get good Korean skin care
Mm.
products?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And where did I eventually think, oh, let's go to Amazon? And then
Oh,
I was like, I don't know if this is real. Like, so I think there's a lot of confusion as a
yeah.
consumer. Like, what do I
Yeah.
use? And so I was like, it's so nice talking to you because knowing that you won't do certain things because of your personal integrity says a lot to me.
Definitely.
So, what I'm going to rewind. How did you start this?
Oh yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
you said, you
How
were,
did I get started?
yeah. Like what happened?
It's kind of a long and windy road. That's kind of but it does come full circle. So I was a late bloomer in like every sense of the word. It took me literally probably over 10 years to graduate college because I love traveling. And so anytime I would see like a cheap airfare, I would literally just like bolt out. And so I would skip semesters or like I wouldn't complete and I would fail. Um, and then at some point I just realized like I have to finish, like I have to get a degree because that's like what we're told that we have to do.
Correct.
So I enrolled in an anthropology degree because I've always been really interested in other cultures and the way people are and how they think, and like I just love that kind of stuff, and I think that like goes in hand with traveling. Um, and so I enrolled in an anthropology degree program, and I had the opportunity to move to Korea for to teach English as a second language.
How cool.
And I went there knowing that I would be doing that, but I really wanted to work with North Korean refugees. That kind of goes with the anthropology. But I was told that that wasn't something that is possible because I don't speak Korean, and it's not safe, especially for somebody who doesn't really have experience. So I just focused on teaching English as a second language, but then I started noticing what I started noticing the beauty culture in Korea. How many cosmetic stores, all the procedures, all of the, spas. Like here we go to the spa during the day, but in Korea, they sometimes spend the weekend there and they go as a family, and there's TVs and you sleep there and there's a restaurant, and it's like a community thing. And I really, really, I loved that so much. And it wasn't just like beauty either. I remember like back in the day, I was a big hiker and I would hike, and I hiked to the very top, the highest point in Korea, Jeju Mountain. And there were like these little 80-year-old and men and women, and they were just like running circles around me. And so I just noticed that like they really prioritize not just beauty, but feeling good.
Mm.
And it really resonated with me. And I knew that when I came back, I didn't know if I really wanted to go into anthropology fully. I finished my degree, but then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to become an esthetician. And then it just kind of came full circle. When I went solo, I thought, or I was wondering like what would be my niche, what would be my specialty, and it just felt right to do Korean skincare. So it kind of it does come full circle. It's wild.
I love that. Have
That's
And
you
then
ever,
when I went solo, not even a year later, we closed because of COVID, and I thought like, okay, well, my life is over. And then I kind of pivoted. I kept my studio, but then I pivoted into distributing these lines that I had been interested in or curious with. I built relationships with these manufacturers. I reached out to people that I knew in Korea from when I spent time there. And then it just kind of went from there. And now I'm out of the treatment room and I'm just doing distribution full time. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
I I want to tell you, as soon as you said pivot, so I wrote a book, and I always tell people that when we talk about business as a woman too, and um, I always say you need to pivot and rotate, and that's exactly what you did, girl. So
Yeah.
Good on you.
again,
Had
giving up,
to.
people will say, "Wait," but I love that you're doing that. So,
So how can, where it is having such a moment,
mhm,
more and more people are turning to Korean skincare.
mhm,
How can, like, to your point, how can people find reputable, good skincare lines, especially if
I think
it's
it's
all in Korean on the package, or you know,
Yeah. I think it's not so much different than what we do here. Like as a newer esthetician, a lot of times we gravitate towards Skin Script and they have a lot of great products, but then you kind of see this like then they kind of move on to a different line. And I think it's really no different for Korean skincare. It's just finding distributors that are selling like professional lines, ones that you won't find on Amazon or
mhm,
elsewhere.
exactly.
okay,
Um, and there are a few of us like in the states, so you can find us. And but there's also a lot of like non-professional Korean skincare that's just amazing too. So
So
awesome.
yeah,
I would love to know, one, tell us how we can find you, because that's the first thing I'm going to do and share, because
yeah,
I think that when you trust, you know, the person, the company, it really does go a long way. Because I want to know that, like, I know, like, just talking to you, I'm like, this is great. Now I feel safer to say, I want to try this. So I want to know where we can, everyone can find you because
yeah,
they need to
yeah.
support you. And the second thing I want to know is your favorite things that
Mm.
you're like, don't be a gatekeeper on
Oh,
us. Tell
yeah.
us what we need. Okay.
Okay. So you can find me. My e-commerce website is estsupply.com, ESTHI supply.com. I chose that URL because kinesthetics just seemed long, and I thought that people would might get confused.
Yeah.
But I also have two Facebook groups. I have Support and Success for the Solo Esthetician, and that has like I don't even know, maybe like 15,000 members, and it's really drama free actually for as many estheticians that that's in the group. And then I have one just for professional Korean skincare, and it's Professional Korean Skincare by Kin. So I have
Mhm.
two different groups. I have my e-commerce site, but I also have a blog that I post every week, whether it's about Korean products or just like I'm really passionate about Korean skincare, but I'm also really, really passionate about uplifting women specifically who
Mm.
want to work for themselves and escape the 9 to 5 and figure out how to run a successful business because I'm seeing so many solo estheticians that go solo and maybe they give great facials but they don't know how to work on their business, work on their business or just working in it, and then they
Right.
don't succeed. So I do a lot of I wouldn't say mentorship, but I do a lot of blogs about how to market appropriately, things to consider to grow your business, how to scale once you're at that level. So I feel like my website in general is kind of has a wealth of information. I also have a YouTube channel, but I'm not on it a whole lot. I
Yeah.
mostly just post my reels. And then as far as my favorite products, it's hard, but it's easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, for acne, I feel like KRX has literally the best acne peel on the market. I have tried so many from different lines. And I really believe it's the green tea content that's in it.
Mm.
It within 24 hours, you see a huge reduction in erythema, acne, that post-inflammatory erythema, acne in general. It's really calming and brightening. It's called the Clear Peel. It's awesome.
Hey, love
I
that.
also love Omega Green, which is by Omelin, which is another line. You can actually pair the Clear Peel and Omega Green, and that's a chlorophyll copper complex. So basically, what it does is it just calms the skin, allows that healing to occur. Of course, with acne, you have to, it's all about diet and lifestyle. It's not just about the facials and, the products, but it's a great complement to, that lifestyle change. And that's one of our best sellers. And it's a mask that you apply on the skin. You can also nano needle it in, and it does require LED, but the results are just wonderful.
Awesome.
Um, and then another big seller, well, two other big sellers from KRX is Carboxy. So there's two types of Carboxy. There's the type that you inject, and then there's the topical Carboxy, which I feel like is actually becoming more popular. You're seeing other brands come out with their own, like the CO2 lift. What's a little bit different
Okay.
about the KRX Carboxy is it is the highest rate of carbonation that's allowed in a skincare product by the KFDA, which is just like the Korean FDA. And basically, what it does is you apply this gel over the skin. It's a carbon dioxide gel, and you apply this sheet mask over top. And it creates this reaction called the Bohr effect, where it momentarily deprives the skin of oxygen. So then you get this influx of red blood cells that are like, feeding oxygen to that skin tissue. You get the delivery of nutrients, and it's amazing for hydration. Acne, since acne bacteria is anaerobic, it's amazing for acne. People who are concerned with fine lines, wrinkles, all of that. And then, yeah, me too. And then there's Vtox, which is what I call a facelift in a bottle. And it literally can take
There we go.
like, 10 years off of someone's
I'm
face. Of
ordering.
course, you have to be mindful of like, because I will often have 20-year-olds come in and they're like, I saw your post and, I'm interested in this facial. I'm like, you're not going to walk away looking like you've just had a facelift. But for those that are older, it really does make a huge difference. And you can pair that with Carboxy. You can do both, like Carboxy and then Vtox, the
I'm
facelift
doing this.
facial.
Let's do it.
And the results are phenomenal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's for acne and a little bit of fine lines.
Yeah. Well, Vtox is going to be for anti-aging.
Yes.
Carboxy is
Okay.
acne or
I got
anti-aging.
so
Yeah.
focused on like the products, I missed the moving on in the
I'm like,
categories.
yes, sign me up.
I know, serious.
Yeah.
Now, your website, is that for licensed estheticians or is that for like
Yes.
general consumer?
It's licensed estheticians. You have to upload your license to join.
I got
Yeah.
it.
You were literally going to
Awesome.
get one on me. We were going to do this
I'll do it
with
till
your
I
product. And so we
Let's
will
do
do
it.
it. And then we'll put it on TikTok.
Yeah,
We're going to go viral. Yeah.
let's do it.
I
I love it. Okay, so you probably get this question a lot lately. What are your thoughts on the snail mucin?
I honestly don't have any strong feelings about it
Mhm.
for two reasons. One, it's so interesting that I hope this doesn't come off wrong. I find it so interesting when estheticians have like such a strong um, take on a certain ingredient and they just run with it. But like in all honesty, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a cosmetic formulator. I really don't know that, there's those that say it's really hydrating. There's those that say that it's actually has inflammatory properties. I've looked at the research. I've seen both. As an esthetician, I'm not a scientist or a cosmetic, formulator. I don't know the honest answer.
Love that.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not scared to say that because, I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. So I don't have a strong view either way. I will say that trend has kind of left Korea. None of the products that I carry have it. I've asked KRX because estheticians have asked me and they're just like, "Oh, that
Like
that
we're
trend
done.
is over. We're on to the next thing." So,
So true.
um
I mean, that
yeah, so I
tells you
don't
right there
really
that they're like so far ahead.
So is there
yeah.
a trend in Korean skincare
I'm
that
sorry.
we're behind? Is there a trend that we should be doing now?
Oh, what the trends that are happening now are exosomes, lots of different stem cell products, a
Okay.
lot of different growth factors. Again, the sunscreen filters that are just incredible. Um,
So when you say sunscreen filter, what do you mean by that?
Because I'm thinking of a TikTok or
Yeah,
Instagram filter. I'm
yeah.
like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so when, sunscreens, the chemical filters that we use are like there's titanium dioxide and zinc. So they're using just like fully different filters, like different ingredients that make up the UVA
Okay,
and UVB protection. And
nice.
there's a ton, so I can't list them all. They have a
Right.
lot. And it's not just Korea actually. It's like the whole world is like far ahead of what we're doing in terms of sunscreen,
I
which is
mean,
sad.
It's,
that
yeah,
that tracks.
that tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
so
it's
true.
also, it's not that they're just pushing stuff out too. Like they really do, they have their own KFDA. They do a lot of testing. And so they're not just like, making things willy-nilly.
Okay.
So is for me, I'm a consumer, you're a esthetician.
Mhm.
Um, is there something that I guess for me, I get a lot of people asking me, what is a really good skincare system products to be using for aging or, I want to say 40 plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 55 and I'm 55 and so I'm such a believer in this, but I know that there's several things, but is there some things that you would recommend for a more mature um, men or women in their skincare routine?
Yeah. I would say if you were talking products and like what I carry, I would say the KRX Youth Plex line because it contains volufiline, which is a volumizing agent. So it helps replace lost volume. It helps with fine lines, hyperpigmentation. Um, and again, like I said, they really create leans heavy on the peptides and the growth factors opposed to retinol and really maintaining that like your skin barrier homeostasis. So I would say anything that's hydrating that you can do. I think chemical peels are needed for treatment, but I personally am not somebody who just does a chemical peel on somebody every time they come in, even a light peel, because there's no real reason to disrupt the skin barrier unless this is my view, unless we're actually treating something. And then not so much skincare, but diet. you know, I'm not one to talk about diet, I'll be honest with you, but I do know that glycation does occur and excel after the age of, I think, 35. And
Okay.
so, really watching how much sugar or things that convert into sugar is going to be really important because personally, I have so many clients that have glycation and that it's so hard to treat once that starts. And so, hit it with the peptides, low sugar diet and you're good to go. But also a lot of it is, genetics, unfortunately, too.
That's true. That's true.
Mm.
Mhm.
So let's say we're telling you all these things, and I'm like, sign me up. I want to go to an esthetician that is going to provide this quality. What should someone like me do? Because I know you can order it, you can do
Mhm.
it. Like
Mhm.
for those, especially like if we put this out there, which we are, and people are going to say, well, wait a minute, I don't know where to go. So
Yeah.
what's the next step so that they
Yeah.
can get your products?
So we do have a list of stockists and estheticians that are using our products on the
There we
website.
There
go.
we go.
So, and we have estheticians, I think, in probably almost every state now. There's not a ton because we are a very niche market,
Mhm.
but there are estheticians, out there in almost every state that provide these types of services. And what I'll say in general, and I'm so, all the estheticians that buy from me, they're so wonderful. Like it is such a great supportive non-catty. We don't gatekeep. Like if you're in my Facebook group, you'll see people share their protocols or they give advice like try this next time to get these results.
That's very
And
true.
in general, these estheticians, not to compare east and west again, but I feel like so many estheticians here is just like pumpkin facial for October and like this for
Yes.
this season. And what I really try to teach the estheticians that come to me or purchase products is that every time a client comes in, it doesn't matter if you've been seeing them for 10 years, their skin's always going to be different because you have to take into consideration hormones, weather, stress, all of that. And
Mhm.
so no, there's no such thing as like one size fits all, one facial fits all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so really like working intuitively and working with the skin in the moment, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Absolutely.
So I think that is, we're niched in Korean skincare, but we also offer this kind of holistic approach where we, take everything into consideration. I don't know why I started that tangent, but
No, I love
just
it.
plugging
No,
all the amazing estheticians that are using these products.
no, I
That's
love that.
fabulous.
I
So, like, it's
I
really
agree.
being
Yeah.
about reading the skin
Hmm.
and taking that client's history into account
Well,
before you're doing a standard protocol facial.
so I do a
Yeah.
facial every month. I started when I was in my late 20s. My husband got me a Groupon, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And so I found my Pam, and I literally have seen her since I was, late 20s. And people have asked me, they're like, every month. I go, absolutely. And she does that. She'll say, oh, you need to drink some more water this month. It will change. And then we do a like a micro every time, but it is my self care
Mhm.
because the way you feel about yourself and present yourself is worth that cost to me. Like I'm like, hey, instead of going to Starbucks once a day or twice a day or whatever, for me, I would rather spend that money and knowing that I can't wait to tell her about your products.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
like I'm sending her all the
All the
information. And I will tell you, that's the number one thing. And sometimes I feel like you do see, oh, the fall special is this. Oh, this is
Mhm.
and then as a consumer, I'm like, well, what's the difference between all of these?
Yeah.
Why should I do this over that? Should I be microneedling? Should I be doing a
Hmm.
laser? And that's really important that they go to someone who is qualified because
Yeah.
guess what? Have you seen online? There's a lot of people that do their own pills and different
Hmm.
Oh,
things,
that hurts my heart
and it
a
hurts
little
my
bit.
heart because I just go, you're, you know, it's your face,
Yeah.
They're buying kits, and a lot of people are doing DIY, and
Mhm.
if they're doing that, that's fine. But for me, I would never. I'm too fearful of that, and so I appreciate that we can go and make it a priority, like you said, and it's a passion and support, this industry. Like I think you should do a spa, just like in Korea. I'll go on the
We'll go.
weekend. Wouldn't that be
We're already
awesome?
like, let's go to Korea. Let's
We
go.
need to
Come
change
with
that.
us. Like, show us all the good
Yeah,
spots.
Yeah.
exactly. So do you have any other questions?
Oh man,
There's so many in my
I'd
head.
say I feel like a lot of times people ask for like your favorite product, but I would love to know like what are your favorite maybe ingredients from Korean skincare?
Mm. Definitely Sika, which is Centella asiatica, which is a botanical. It's really great at reducing heat and redness in the skin. You'll see that in a lot of Korean skincare. Um, tranexamic acid, that's also a big ingredient in Korean skincare, and that is an amazing skin brightener. Same with astaxanthin. It helps with free radical damage and also helps brighten the skin. I can't remember whether it's tranexamic or astaxanthin. I believe it's astaxanthin. It's like 300 times more effective than vitamin C. I'd have to
Whoa.
double check that, but it's a lot. And so while we, say again here where we're relying heavily on vitamin C, they're using astaxanthin, tranexamic acid, beta glucan, all of these other, brightening ingredients that are really wonderful. And so I do, and I will say that in Asia in general, people don't want to be dark. It's a status thing. So, like, if you're darker, it means you're working outside in the fields. But if you are lighter, it means you have an office job and, it's more respected. And so, their brightening products, because they want to be so fair, they really do work. Um, and it always amazes me when estheticians post their before and afters in the group of their clients using these brightening products because it's mind blowing. So I
Good.
would say their brightening products, the Sika, and they have some of the best moisturizers. Seriously,
Ooh,
like
that's what I need.
Quartha, which is one of the lines I carry. It is a broad line, all fragrance free. It's really based on repairing and protecting the skin barrier. And their creams have a lot of ceramides in them, which help like replenish the ceramides in the skin, encourage more production of ceramides. Um, so yeah, there's so many.
That's awesome.
So I have a
I
que-
geek out so bad.
I have a big question because I went and personally done this with my institution, but at other places. How do you have anything that will actually get rid of like the sunspots and the damage that some of us did to ourselves a long
Your
time ago?
little sun
Is
oil.
there
Yeah.
really anything that works that can help you in?
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard because you can pull pigment with peels and stuff, but you might still have some like deeper dermal pigment that will pop up later.
Mhm.
The best thing you can do is obviously protect your skin from the sun. And continuously, it's like when you go to the gym, 3 times and you're like, why am I still overweight? Like with those products, you have to use them, daily just to keep on it, to help suppress that melanin production. So I would say like product wise in the line, you could use like the Quartz brightening line. They have a spot lumetic, which is a cream that you can use as a hand cream. But a lot of the pigment that we're seeing is damage that we did when we were younger. And so it's really just like trying to keep it at bay. And you can use peels as long as you're not like using too many peels. Um, yeah.
Okay, that's good to
It's
know.
just part of
Sounds
getting
like
older too.
Yeah,
yeah. Sounds like we
Yeah.
need to get you some of that sunscreen, some of those
yep,
good
we're gonna try it.
ingredients.
Yeah, I'm a sunscreen every day, always, but I know I'll tell you what I use because now I'm gonna change.
All right,
No, we're not
expect
gonna
my
do
Yeah.
license later.
Yeah, we're gonna an experiment. That would
I'm
be fun. We
excited.
should like so that the stuff that we've talked about,
Uh-huh.
we have her, and then we're gonna let the audience kind of see it too, because
Be
yeah,
our guru and like walk us
yeah,
through this.
yeah,
We'll do a whole
got
series.
this. We got this.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
for sure.
Okay, well, thank you so
Thank
much for your
you.
Of
time.
course.
It's been
Thank you for
wonderful.
having me. I
Inspired,
feel so honored.
and there's no way you're even. I was thinking 20 something honestly when she got here. I
Seriously,
was like,
Oh,
yeah, you look great.
for real.
So
I
it
agree.
works.
thank you.
It's working for you, girl. So
Thank you.
thank you. And
Appreciate
not
that.
only have you inspired me by just your knowledge, I couldn't say half the things you said. I'm like, what? What is this?
Oh.
But you also inspired me, and I think you're going to inspire other people to know, like when you're pivoting, and like you're like saying, hey, follow your passion, you know.
Mhm.
And I can tell you're passionate about it, and you've made me really um, open up my eyes even more, saying like, I really want to implement and try these products. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
I agree.
Yeah, thank